You're in pain, you miss them, you're trying to manifest them, and it feels like you're losing them more and more every day. This can relate to any specific person you want to manifest, but of course also to your twin flame. In this video, I'm going to show you why you feel stuck in that state, why nothing seems to work when you're in it, and what you need to do first before you actually can change anything and before you can manifest them. Because when you're in that state, you're not just a little sad. It takes over everything. It consumes you entirely. So this video is for you if this situation fits. So you wake up, you think about them, you go to sleep, and you still think about your person. And even if you're trying to distract yourself, it doesn't last. As soon as you're not distracted, your thoughts automatically shift back to the one you love. So you miss them constantly, and now that they came into your life and then left again, you feel more alone than ever before. Everything in your day reminds you of them. And this is the moment it really starts to affect you, because when you're in that level of pain, you can't manifest effectively because your state is working against you. And that is the reason why nothing you do seems to work. Some of you may try to fix it. You want to reach out to your person and fix it with them. You think it through, you analyze every little detail, you replay the conversations in your head on autopilot, and then of course, since you know about manifesting, you try all the techniques and still nothing changes. Many of you even try to fix things on the outside. You try to talk to them, to explain yourselves, to fix the situation with them, and still nothing sticks. And I know this agonizing feeling of losing your person and you're in this pain. That actually happened to me with a specific person of mine. It was a catalyst twin connection in the end of 2013. So I know that pain. I was in that state. I was in excruciating pain that I actually kind of didn't want to live any longer. I was showing all the symptoms of severe depression, extreme fatigue. I was working on autopilot throughout the day, but whenever I didn't have to function, I was just completely depleted. Honestly, when I remember that time, it is kind of foggy because I feel my mind was not clear at all. That state for me, it actually lasted 5 months. It was way before I learned about manifesting. I wish I had known back then what I'm teaching you now. I couldn't escape that pain. It was unbearable even. But what shifted for me, that was one day I decided to make a clear decision. I was watching a bunch of spiritual videos on YouTube back then. And then I made a really conscious choice. No more. I can't live like this no more. And also because I perceived myself to be very connected to the other person, and I always telepathically picked up on when he was going through something, which later was confirmed. I feared that my negative state could affect him, and he was already dealing with depression himself. So I decided, no, I have to be well so that he can be well. I know, not the right choice. We should always choose ourselves first, but in the beginning that was my motivation, and then it became about myself. But for me, that conscious decision actually shifted me into another timeline. From one day to the next, the pain was gone. I became a vegan. I have been for 13 years now, and this is not the key to manifest anything, but that was part of my journey, and I got out of it just like that. But I also have to say, it doesn't work just like that for everyone. I know that, of course, because I've been coaching for 20 years now, and I have helped many clients who were dealing with this same situation. And this situation, it is exactly where people start thinking that they're failing their manifestation. But let's talk about what's actually happening. This special connection, especially if it's a twin flame connection, but of course this can be any intense connection, it activates everything that is underneath your surface. The fear of loss, the fear of not being chosen, old relationship patterns, everything just comes up at once. And this is why it feels this intense. And that is also why nothing you do in the 3D in real life can work. Talking doesn't fix it. Explaining your situation, your feelings to them doesn't fix it. Trying harder and manifesting doesn't fix it, because your internal state hasn't shifted yet, and it cannot shift in this state. And this is also why so many people come to me when they are at this exact point. because this is where everything just feels like it collapses if you don't understand what's happening. And this is also the state I've already helped dozens of my clients to shift out of. And if you want my help, of course you can reach out for personal coaching. The link is in the description box. But now let's talk about what do you actually do when you're in that state. When you're in the state, you don't fix it by thinking better. You don't fix it by getting out of the spiral first. Because right now, you're stuck in this spiral. You're in this pain and nothing you will do to manifest will work. Nothing will stick at this point. This is not the phase yet where you start manifesting. This is the phase where you reduce triggers. So what can you do now? You stop checking your phone constantly and you stop rereading those messages. You stop looking at their social media, because every time you do that, you reopen the wound. The key is find your triggers, observe yourself. Whenever you notice something triggers you, avoid it. And it can be talking to someone about your person, which you shouldn't do anyway right now, because the more attention you give to the state, the longer it will prolong. You're not healing yourself if you keep triggering yourself all day. So try to find your triggers and then avoid them as good as you can. If someone else wants to talk about your situation, just tell them, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk about this right now. You're not healing if you keep triggering yourself all day. If you already get some value out of this video, I would appreciate if you would reward me with a thumbs up and a little comment in the description box. And also make sure to check out my other content, because you will find many tips that will help you on this journey. And many of them you won't hear anywhere else, because not many of the coaches here have my kind of experience and my kind of expertise. So what else do? We interrupt the spiral. When your mind loops, don't follow it. Shift your attention deliberately. And that can be something benign like counting objects. I always tell my clients, pick a color like pink, if you have anything pink in your room or in the area where you are, and count everything you see that is pink or blue or green or red. Just pick a color. Name the animals alphabetically, like ant, bear, chameleon, and so on. Focus on something very simple. Start doing a crossword puzzle. Right now, we're not trying to fix anything. Right now, we're just training you to interrupt that pattern. It may take a moment until you notice that you automatically stop spiraling that much. But until that, your job is to keep interrupting that pattern. You can do a physical reset. That could be changing rooms, going for a walk, or just putting cold water on your face or your wrists, because your body actually shifts states faster than your thoughts. So as soon as you remove your body out of that situation or you do something different, your mind can follow. Another thing that's important when you're in pain, contain the pain. Don't try to fight it. Give it space. That is what I always do. And I have a video on that is popping up right now, what I do when I am in this situation. Let yourself experience the pain fully and don't always oppress it, because that way it can get out of your system. And after you cried, for example, your body will automatically produce some hormones to relax you. So it's okay to cry. Just don't try to do it all day, because eventually we want to stop that spiral too. Because if you let it run all day, it will consume everything. The next thing you can do when you are in this phase where you are in pain is try to stabilize your day. Come up with some very simple routines and some predictable structure. Something stable when everything else in your system right now feels unstable. One important message is you're not failing anything. You're just in the most intense phase and you need to push through. It will get easier after that, I promise you. I have experienced it myself and I have helped so many clients through that phase. But the good news is once you're out of this constant spiral, that's when you can actually start working with your thoughts properly. That is what I will break down in the next video, because this is where mental diet actually starts to work. Right now, when you're in the spiral and people just tell you, oh, stick to your mental diet, just think positive, not going to happen. Right now, we just want to train to break the loop and trying to think more positive. That is the next step we'll discuss next week. So make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to get you through this phase. But also once you're a little bit out of the spiral, this is when you can actually start working with your thoughts properly. And that is also exactly what I break down step by step in my book Manifesting 101. The link is in the description box below. But of course, you can also start with my free giveaway, the 3 most common blocks and how to resolve them. Also, the link is in the description box in the link tree. But when you're in this state, your job is not to manifest. Your job is to get out of that spiral first. And if you want help with that process, everything is linked below, including coaching and my scripts. And I see you next week in a video where we talk about the next step. Bye bye.